Have you ever felt that the more you hold onto your strategies and secrets of success, the heavier your path becomes? Retaining knowledge is like trying to hold the wind in your hands. Today, we will discover why distributing your seeds is the only true way to reach genuine growth.
Why do you retain so much knowledge? Why do you hold so many work techniques while others have nothing at all? Release what no longer serves you, and you will walk lighter, benefiting society as a whole. When you see your seeds take root, your heart will be filled with joy, and this joy will become your true treasure. If you store techniques that no longer serve you, they will imprison you, preventing you from reaching the regions of blessedness. Now, stay with Apollo, who will tell a powerful story about how true giving transforms realities.
At 34 years old, Carolina was not merely the owner of Central Convenience. To those who observed her closely, she was a quiet force, dressed in simplicity and discipline. Her wine shop and beverage and snack distribution business had, over the years, become the beating heart of the neighborhood, not only because of constant movement, but because it functioned as a point of social balance. Financial success was already well established, built upon precise commercial techniques, administrative discipline, and a clear long-term vision. Yet, in the silence of her small office at the end of each day, something deeply unsettled her. Carolina possessed solid technical training, shaped by professional courses and years of hands-on experience in retail. More than that, she carried a discreet faith, without slogans, without verses on the walls. Her spirituality revealed itself through standards, in how she treated suppliers, customers, employees, and especially in the limits she placed on profit itself. She firmly believed that money without purpose was nothing more than an empty number on a cold spreadsheet, efficient perhaps, but spiritually barren. One morning, while organizing inventory turnover reports, Carolina noticed through the window a group of young people sitting on the sidewalk, passing time between scattered conversations and outdated cell phones. There was no rebellion there, only a lack of direction. In that moment, an old thought resurfaced with force: the danger of retaining useless information. She could change that reality. She held the map to the gold mine. She mastered logistics, inventory management, strategic pricing, supplier negotiation, product placement, consumer behavior analysis, and above all, she understood the ethical boundaries of her industry. If she kept all of that to herself, her company would continue to grow, but the neighborhood would remain stagnant, vulnerable, and dependent. The internal conflict was real and honest. If I teach what I know, will I create competitors or partners? The answer did not come from books or spreadsheets. It came from silent prayer and mature reflection. Those who sow in the desert do not create competition, they create an oasis. And an oasis does not belong to the one who starts it, but to all who need it. Carolina chose to act with method. She converted the upper floor of her distribution center into a simple, organized, functional training room. There were no motivational banners and no empty promises. The project was quietly named Helping Hand. She invited 10 young people from the neighborhood, chosen not for their education, but for their willingness to learn and their real need for autonomy. At the very first meeting, she was clear. I don't want you working for me forever. I want you to learn how to build your own businesses, manage your own inventory, and understand that commerce is a service of dignity to the community. The lessons were not theoretical. Carolina taught life as it truly is. She began with the basics: neighborhood analysis, consumption profiles, peak hours, and the difference between impulse buying and planned purchasing. She taught that a beverage shop should not stimulate excess, but provide responsible convenience. She showed how focusing on families, rather than uncontrolled consumption, creates stability, predictability, and social respect. She carefully explained that beverages should never be the sole focus of a business. When you sell only alcohol, you depend on addiction. When you sell complete solutions, you depend on trust, she would say. That is why she taught balance between beverages, snacks, quick meal items, and products designed for family moments. She demonstrated how well-chosen snacks, especially during evening hours, increase the average ticket without encouraging harmful behavior, while also offering higher margins and lower operational risk. Carolina taught how to design displays that invite rather than shout. How to position products ethically, avoiding aggressive consumption triggers. She showed that true profit comes from healthy recurrence, not momentary exploitation. She spoke about strategic time windows, late afternoons when families return from work, early evenings when spontaneous gatherings occur, and how pairing snacks with beverages during these moments strengthened cash flow without compromising values. There were also invisible management lessons, strict inventory control to avoid waste, fair supplier negotiation, and real margin calculation, not only on the product but on the risk. She insisted. A business that lives on the moral edge also lives on the financial edge. The fear of exposing her business secrets was real. But as she taught how to choose reliable suppliers, create intelligent bundles, and educate customers without confrontation, she felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. Knowledge ceased to be a defensive weapon and became a bridge. She was not creating dependence. She was forming conscious entrepreneurs. One student, Marcos, stood out for his attention to detail. He quickly learned that success was not about copying Carolina, but about applying principles to his own territory. With technical support and ethical guidance, he opened a small grocery store 3 kilometers away. Carolina became his first supplier, not as a competitor, but as a partner. She offered initial inventory at fair pricing and made one thing clear: grow, but grow the right way. Instead of losing market share, Carolina noticed something unexpected: her reach expanded. Each new well-structured business strengthened the entire chain. The neighborhood began to change. Where doors were once closed, small, clean, respected businesses emerged. Security improved. The local economy gained momentum. Families began to see commerce not as a threat, but as support. The Helping Hand Project became a reference, not through advertising, but through results. Other business owners in the city heard about the entrepreneur who manufactured her own market partners. Inspired by the model's lightness and visible transformation, entrepreneurs from other sectors, textiles, construction, services, began replicating the same logic: teach to multiply, not to dominate. Carolina never sought public recognition. Her reward lived in the invisible, the balance between profit and purpose, the peace of not depending on questionable practices, and the certainty that her business prospered without harming the community that sustained it. She proved with rare maturity that the true treasure of an entrepreneur is not what is locked in a safe, but what is planted in the minds of those who never had an opportunity. And so, without noise, Carolina reached the blessed state reserved for those who build without destroying. She watched the neighborhood flourish. She watched her students become leaders. And she kept her values intact, with a lighter heart than ever, and a future firmly established.
Carolina's story leads us into deep reflection about what we do with the talents we receive. Fear often convinces us that scarcity is the rule, but eternal wisdom teaches the opposite. As we examine her journey, we find resonance in sacred passages that affirm overflow as the secret of true wealth. The first passage appears in Proverbs 11 verse 24. One gives freely, yet grows all the richer, another withholds what is right, and only suffers want. Carolina embodies this truth. By releasing her techniques and profits to form others, she did not become poorer. On the contrary, her influence and inner peace multiplied. Those who retain knowledge out of egoism become prisoners of sandcastles that time inevitably erodes. The second lesson comes from the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. The servant who hid his talent out of fear was rebuked. Carolina understood that her work techniques were entrusted talents. If she buried them in individual success, she would fail her creator. By multiplying them in the lives of young people like Marcos, she heard the inner voice say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Christian entrepreneurship, in this light, becomes a tool for multiplying social well-being. Finally, we remember Luke 6 verse 38. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Carolina did not give money alone, she gave know-how. She gave autonomy. And the return came not merely in currency, but in the transformation of an entire city. She discovered that the heart rejoices when the seed sprouts in another's soil. This journey of release and service prepares us for a deeper understanding. To learn how to apply this truth in everyday life, stay now with Apollo, as he brings final reflections to guide you toward true freedom and blessedness.
We arrive at a crucial point in today's journey. Carolina's story and Tito's words remind us that life is not a zero-sum game, where one wins only if another loses. The economy of the spirit works in reverse. The more you give what is useful, the more space you create for the new and the extraordinary. Reflecting on the helping hand means examining what we store in our own mental warehouses. You may possess a technique, a piece of advice, or a way of organizing life that could save someone beside you. If you withhold it out of fear or inertia, you become heavy. Unused knowledge decays, turns into arrogance, and distances us from the simplicity Christ taught. Carolina chose lightness. She understood that this story is not about assistential charity, but about dignifying empowerment. Before concluding, know that your presence here matters deeply to us. If this message is touching your heart and reshaping your values, take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to the Think Strong channel and activate notifications. This allows us to keep spreading seeds of wisdom and ethical entrepreneurship. Your comments are also a treasure. Tell us if you have ever experienced the joy of teaching someone. Returning to our reflection, see how life's beauty lies in the cycle of sowing. When Carolina sees new businesses opening, she does not see lost market, she sees her legacy alive. She reaches blessedness while still on earth, because her heart is free from selfishness. True entrepreneurial success is becoming a facilitator of others' success. It is having the courage to be the step others climb. This creates a peace no net profit can buy. May you, starting today, identify which skills or knowledge are gathering dust on your shelf, and begin distributing them. The lightness you seek is found in the hand you extend. If this reflection awakens something within you, another video is appearing on your screen now to deepen this journey of self-knowledge. Thank you for being part of Think Strong. Stay firm in your purpose of growth. We'll meet again soon, on our next walk.